welcome to Activity Quest, the podcast that's packed with stuff to do. In this week's episode, Adam's climbing St Paul's Cathedral. We're learning all about the building and the man that made it. So, my name is Bex. Every week we go up and down the country on the quest for something epic, and this week Adam's off to one of London's most iconic landmarks as he scales St Paul's Cathedral.
Hi Bex, I'm a little bit out of breath at the moment. I'm currently climbing some stairs in St Paul's Cathedral. But to find out how I got here, how about we go all the way back down to the bottom? And in fact, our journey starts in the crypt.
My name is Terry Richards, and I'm here with the Education Department teaching children about the Great Fire of London.
And Terry, you were telling me that this model in front of us is Cathedral number 4.
Absolutely. Down in the crypt of St Paul's, we have a model that's called the Great Model. It's the cathedral that was here. It was built in 1087, took 250 years to build, was the largest cathedral in Europe, but it took only one day to burn down. And that was in the Great Fire of London of 1666.
In 1666, London was a very different city from the one we know today. It was much smaller, with only about 500,000 people, but it was still a very busy and important place. On September 2nd of that year, a fire started in a bakery on Pudding Lane. At the time, people used open flames to cook and heat their homes, so fires weren't uncommon. But this one quickly got out of control. Within hours, it had spread to nearby buildings and was roaring through the city. Oh gosh, look at that.
We have the Great Fire of London. You can see old St Paul's there going up in flames. The fire destroyed 13,200 houses, 87 churches and 44 stables. 5/6 of the city of London burnt to the ground in 5 days. After the fire went out, of course, they had to rebuild the whole of London. Over here is a plan that Wren put forward in just a few days after the Great Fire of London that wasn't actually proceeded with, but following that he was given the job of rebuilding first of all St Paul's Cathedral and then 51 other churches within the square mile, of which 26 are still standing today.
Hello, I'm Emily Weaver. I'm Learning Officer. That means I get to work with schools and families who come to visit St Paul's Cathedral.
We've just learned a little bit about the Great Fire of London, and in front of us right now are 2 statues that were actually damaged during that fire.
So these are 2 seated statues, a husband and a wife. The wife, you can see, has a little bit of damage, but the husband has lost most of his head. You can see just his chin and the remains of his nose. On one of his hands, a couple of the fingers are missing, and then on the other hand, the whole hand has been blown off by the explosion that was caused by the heat of the fire. So you might wonder why they look black and why they might be damaged. And actually then you'll realise that you are an eyewitness to something that actually happened here in this part of London 350 years ago. You can see that these statues are from Tudor times and had been rescued from the burnt out wreckage of the old cathedral. And then they were put back into this cathedral to help us to think about history and remind us about the importance of stories from the past.
Okay, now I confess to have never been to St Paul's Cathedral before. I am walking... Wow. I've just walked around the corner through 2 very grand doors and into an even grander room. Oh my word, you just look up and there are very intricate stonework everywhere. Everything's sort of gold-plated. There are chandeliers hanging from the ceiling, and the building is absolutely massive. Wow. I'm speechless, which is rubbish for radio, isn't it?
Let me speak for you then. Above your head you can see a dome, but there's not one dome up there. There's not 2 domes up there. There are 3 domes above your head. The inner saucer dome is made of brick. On top of that is what we call the cone, and that is also made of brick. But the one that you see from the outside, built around the inner and saucer dome, is made of oak covered in lead. And all in all, this entire structure, right the way down to the basement, weighs 65,000 tons. When we teach children, we usually used elephants as an example. So if you can imagine 65,000 elephants up there, that's a lot of elephants. But if you're like me, the idea I like best is if you were to remove this dome from here entirely and put the Eiffel Tower in its place, you'd have to put another 7 Eiffel Towers on top of it to achieve the same weight as the 3 domes of St. Paul's Cathedral. 65,000 tons, and it had never been done before in this country.
Terry,
Yes.
you were going to give me a wow moment.
In that case, you'll have to lie down on the floor again.
Okay. I've not looked up yet either. I'm getting down on the floor.
Right.
Oh, wow. That is a wow moment. Terry, come and stand next to me. And I'm going to hold up this microphone and you're going to explain to me what I'm seeing.
The ceiling of St. Paul's Cathedral choir is made entirely of glass. Tiny, tiny tesserades of glass. No. Look at your small finger and imagine them even smaller than your fingernail. There's estimated to be more than 7 million tesserades of glass or glass that is covered in gold leaf up there. They are mosaics and they tell the story of the creation.
So we are about halfway up now and we're nearly there. Okay, we're very nearly near the top, and there is a very small window, and you can look down and see the cathedral floor, which was the floor earlier on that I was lying under.
Move out, please. Move out over the gallery. Thanks very much. Good, so here we are.
Here we are.
The world down.
Wow. So we have an absolutely gorgeous view over not just sort of the cathedral that's obviously below us now, but over the entirety of London. And would people have come up here at some point over the cathedral's history?
Yes, they did. In actual fact, the cathedral opened in 1710, but in 1709 you could buy a ticket to come up here. It would cost you 4 pence, so of course only very wealthy people would come up here to see, number one, Sir Christopher Wren's magnificent cathedral from a height, but also as far away as 25 miles. In actual fact, this was the tallest building in London until the 1950s, and it could be seen for many more miles away than that.
And it's just amazing to think about, isn't it? You know, the cathedral has been the heart of the city, if you like, in so many ways. And this landscape will have changed around it over time.
Down the river there, you've got Tower Bridge, London Bridge, Southwark Bridge, Blackfriars Bridge, Waterloo Bridge, and Hungerford Bridge there.
And so many landmarks that people will recognise as well. We've obviously got the London Eye tucked just behind that. I think I can just see the spire on it. Is Elizabeth Tower or Big Ben, and so much as well. Obviously you can see the Shards and the Tate Modern as well just across the river.
See the Wembley Arch just in the distance over there, and Alexandra Palace to the north of the building here.
And people can come and do this pretty much any time they like.
They certainly can, yes. It's only 528 steps to the top, but no lift.
Only. We've got that journey now back down.
Okay, follow me. I'll take you the full view around.
You can find out more by searching for St Paul's Cathedral. I'm Bex, and this has been a podcast from the UK's children's radio station, Fun Kids. Listen to me on your DAB digital radio, online on the free Fun Kids mobile app, and on your smart speaker. Just say "Play Fun Kids" every weekday from 4 p.m. See you soon.